glides over a quiet village nestled deep inside an ancient forest. The sky is deep purple-blue, the last light fading. Small huts with thatched roofs cast long shadows, flickering fires throwing dancing orange light. The crackle of flames and distant chanting create a haunting sacred atmosphere. The camera moves closer to the red earth, revealing a worn royal crown, tarnished and half-buried, faintly glinting in firelight. Nearby, a broken throne, splintered wood abandoned beneath a twisted iroko tree. Around a fire, ethereal shadows of witches dance and chant in a circle, their silhouettes sharp against smoke rising to the night sky. The camera moves slowly through thick morning mist. Sunlight filters softly through towering trees. Heavy, slow footsteps echo in the silence. Birds scatter in startled flight. In the distance, faint deep drum beats pulse like a powerful image of a black African king making a solemn covenant with a wrinkled witch. Between them sits a glowing oil lamp, casting warm light and long shadows. The background is the ancient village and forest, hinting at mystery and power.
In a land where crowns are forged in sacrifice and darkness grips the throne, one child's journey will change the fate of a kingdom from a throne to the cross. This is the story of faith, courage, and redemption.
The Throne to the Cross film by Victoria Oluwabunmi Akinlolu.
The chamber is dimly lit by flickering oil lamps. The walls are adorned with royal tapestries worn with age. A powerful old king, regal yet visibly weak and scared, lies on a richly carved sickbed. His forehead is sweaty, eyes heavy but filled with torment. Beside him, his son, the crown prince and successor, kneels respectfully, listening intently. King Makinda, voice trembling but resolute. My son, before I breathe my last, you must understand. The throne demands a price, a secret I have been keeping for so long. My forefathers have a covenant with witches. Pauses, struggling. The first fruit, the firstborn, must be offered to keep the kingdom strong. Prince Adeshina, shocked, struggling to believe. Father, how can such a thing be? To sacrifice our own blood? The King Makinda nods slowly, pain and fear etched deeply in his face. King Makinda, shout back in pain. It's the curse laid upon our people, a dark pact made long ago. His voice lowers. I gave up your elder brother to the darkness so you might sit on this throne. Looks pleadingly at his son. You must be strong. One day, you too will face this. After I'm gone, save the throne. The throne room is filled with muted sunlight, filtering through tall windows. The air is heavy with grief and uneasy anticipation. At the center, the old witch stands tall and commanding, draped in worn but imposing traditional robes. Her eyes gleam with a cold, calculating light. Prince Adeshina, solemn and tense, kneels before the throne. Around him, the court watches in silent reverence. The witch raises the golden crown, its surface dull but regal, and gently places it on Adeshina's head. Old witch, voice firm, almost whispering. Prince Adeshina, with this crown comes the burden of our ancestors. You are now king, but the throne demands sacrifice. Your firstborn child, the first fruit of your wife, must be offered to keep the kingdom strong. Adeshina's eyes widen, shock flickering.
In his right hand, he grips a thick carved staff, a symbol of authority and protection. As though even in rest, he must be ready to defend his throne. His eyelids grow heavy, but then his breathing changes. The room seems to darken unnaturally. From the shadows at the far end of the chamber, a black witch slowly emerges. She is draped in a tattered black covering, that hides most of her form, only her face visible, pale, wrinkled, and terrifying. Her eyes glint with malice as she steps closer, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. Black witch, low, menacing. My throne, my crown. King Adeshina's grip tightens on the staff. The witch's presence feels so real, the air turning cold around him.
The gods know my heart. I will not watch my unborn son fall into the hands of darkness. The witch's shadow will not touch his life. Before his first cry is heard, I must act. Even if it costs my crown my blood, or my breath the prince will live. Before it is too late.
I own the throne and the crown.
The pregnant queen kneels beside the royal bed, her veil brushing the floor. King Adeshina reclines, his face shadowed with worry. She pleads softly about the witch's words, her eyes filled with fear. He reaches for her hand, voice low and firm. We will find a way. Our prince will live. King Adeshina sits tall on his golden throne, his brow furrowed. Beside him, the slim palace attendant leans in quietly, speaking in hushed tones. Your Majesty, there is an old man of God in the forest. He alone can save the unborn prince, she says, her eyes darting. To be sure no one overhears. Sunlight filters through tall trees. The pregnant queen, veiled from head to toe, stands beside King Adeshina. Before them, an old African pastor in a worn suit holds a Bible, his voice firm yet gentle. Old pastor, fear not, your majesties. The God who gives life will guard the crown prince. The king and queen listen intently as the pastor continues, scripture flowing like a shield over their unborn child. The queen, drenched in sweat and wincing from labor pains, forces a smile as she gazes at her beautiful newborn son lying in a golden basket, wrapped in pure white cloth. With trembling hands, she thrusts the basket toward the slim palace attendant. Go, take him to the old man of God in the forest. Now, she commands urgently, her voice cutting through the chaos as drums and distant shouts echo in the palace. In the heart of a thick, misty forest, a slim palace attendant in a simple scarf and worn gown holds a glowing lantern in one hand and a golden basket in the other. Inside lies the newborn prince, wrapped in white. She steps closer and hands the basket to an old man of God in a faded suit, who receives it with reverence under the shadow of towering trees. Palace chiefs sit cross-legged on woven chairs and a local table in middle of them, feasting on roast chicken and sipping from calabashes of palm wine. One of them said, "Their laughter is sharp, but their eyes are cool. Adeshina Obayin, a fool shields the child, but he cannot shield his throne. We must visit the witch doctor to summon Aaron the warlord, to go and collect the child from that old pastor in the forest. Did he think we will not know his plan? Before the child is taken to the city, imagine that ungrateful bastard, the witch, help his forefathers. His father will be ashamed on him." The others nod, muttering in agreement.